Welcome to everyone who's signing in. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds here, maybe a minute or two for people to log in. Welcome, welcome. More people coming in. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday, hump day. We're halfway through our week. Okay, more people coming in. That's great. Okay, we're going to give it just a little bit more time. So I hope everybody's doing good. It got a little warmer here today. It's in the 30s. I'm in New Jersey, and there's still snow on the ground, but it's like a foggy day where it's kind of like sci-fi mystery type weather out right now with the mist and fogs. It's kind of fun. So I hope everybody's doing good. All right, let's dive in. So, hello, I'm Heather McManus. I am founder of the Designers Collaborative, and I also own a interior design business, Artistry Interiors. I am here to tell you guys about writing purchase orders, and I want to do a quick poll. Hopefully this works. Let me launch this. So these are just 3 questions. Let me know if you don't see them. I'm asking you whether or not you're already a member of TDC or you're not a member yet. Then the next question is, how many years have you been in the design business? We've got 1 through 5, 5 through 10, 10 through 15, 15 through 20, and 20 plus. And then last question is, does the idea of a PO make you feel nervous and worried, slightly uncomfortable, at ease? I got this. So I see people are answering. That's great. I'm going to keep this open for another couple seconds. This is just going to help me kind of guide, maybe I spend more time on one slide than another. So we'll see. Okay, so most of you are members. Awesome. Yay. And then 33% are not yet. I put the yet in there because you're welcome to join. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what the group is all about at the end. Okay. And interesting split on how many years you guys have been in business. 1 through 5 is the majority. We've got 57% there, and the rest are 10 to 15. So it's interesting. Cool. All right. Oh, and then 29, I've plus 20 years. God bless. I know. Like what we've seen things. Okay. So, and then the majority of you, 86%, are slightly uncomfortable writing purchase orders. So you came to the right place. And I am going to definitely answer lots of questions at the end. So it looks like we have a couple more people signing in still, so that's good. If anyone wants to fill out this poll, please do. I'm going to close it soon so we can get to our slides. Okay. All right. Then let's begin. Share results. Let's see if that does something. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I still see it up. So I'm going to hit stop sharing and close it. Very fascinating. Thank you for sharing your insight. So let me get my PowerPoint up. Here we go. Okay. Hold on 1 second as I get this to play. Okay, there we go. So, welcome. This is writing a good purchase order for beginners, presented by me, Heather McManus of the Designers Collaborative. Okay, so who is this webinar for? Interior designers, decorators, and stagers, both members of the Designers Collaborative and non-members. So I'll be talking about things in general terms. If you guys have a question about tweaking it slightly for TDC, you know, we will go through that too. And there's certainly going to be time at the end for questions. And then newbies to design and those who have been in the field for years, but maybe haven't written too many purchase orders. It's pretty common. And from the poll that we did, we could see that that's kind of the case with a lot of people here. So, so let's continue. Uh-oh, what happened? All right, we got to use our mouse. Okay, so this is about me, humble brag time. So I went to Pratt. I got my BFA from there. Then I did 4 years experience in a window treatment and upholstery workroom. I tell you that because it means I know how things are made, and that's how I know it. Then I went to work at furniture stores for about 5 years, and that really taught me how to sell, and also what the brands were that people are, you know, looking for, your good, better, best kind of stuff. So that's my work experience. Then I've got 10 years and counting of owning my own design firm, Artistry Interiors. Then I've been featured in magazines such as Traditional Home, Design NJ, and more. I've starred on 3 episodes of House Smarts. That was kind of fun. And then I've been a guest on a Well-Designed Business podcast twice. So episode 1, yes, you heard that right. I was the very first episode, and also episode 357. I have also written and published a book, Love Where You Live, Dream Homes Made Real. It's on Amazon if you are interested. It's yeah, it's still out there for sale. So the biggest accomplishment that I am most proud of is creating the Designers Collaborative. Helping designers flourish, giving them creative freedom and amazing profits is seriously been the most fulfilling for me in all of the humble brags that I could possibly say. So let's dive in. What is a purchase order? A purchase order, or also called a PO, is a detailed offer to purchase products from a vendor. It's an official kind of a document. So now this is something that I've heard designers do, so I put it in here in green. Can I just text or email my rep a picture to order? Absolutely, if you don't mind making expensive mistakes. This to me is like driving around without a seatbelt. I don't know about you, but that whole idea makes me very nervous because I know people who were in car accidents, and I definitely know designers who have made expensive mistakes by not either writing a good purchase order or not bothering to write a purchase order at all. So the power of a good PO is that it safeguards you against mistakes and miscommunication. It's safety, really. A good PO is a legal document to make your intentions clear. It protects you and helps you avoid mistakes altogether. So unfortunately, we all make mistakes. And I will go on record saying poor communication is the root of most mistakes. Something as simple as a little communication error can make a big problem for you in the end. Also, rushing or feeling that you don't have enough time is the biggest mistake. This is one that I hear a lot when I look at something or hear a story from a designer, and the Designers Collaborative has 500 members. So I've heard a lot of things. It's not just in my own experience, it's other people's experiences that I'm going off of. And it's usually because they were rushing, they had all these things to do, and they just needed to get it done. Okay, but you're not getting it done if you have to do it twice and there's a mistake involved, which is now costing you money. So this quote, I heard, I liked it, I wrote it down. I don't know who said it, so I just put someone famous. It's be quick, but don't hurry. I loved that. So master that, right? Be quick, but don't hurry. If you take your time with things, chances are you're not going to have that miscommunication because details matter. And I'm going to go through why and how in detail. Okay, so this is a real life mistake that someone made that, like, it's worthy of me sharing. So let me show you how easy it is to order the wrong item you don't want if you don't have a good PO. One number difference gets you a different finish and a $5,000 mistake on the desk you didn't want. So here's the example. This is a Heckman desk. It came in two colors, at least two colors. So it's the executive L-shaped desk. The first three numbers of this are 794, the same on both. Even the last number, which is like what your eye will see more than anything, right? You'll see the first numbers and the last number. That second to last number, your eye doesn't even quite pick up on it. And you'll notice that on their website, this is where the screenshots are from, the SKU number is a lighter font color, and it's much smaller font than the rest of everything on there. And yet it's the most important piece of information because 27 here is Java finish. You'll see under red, I have the 2 underlined in red along with Java finish, the last bit on the list here, Java finish in red. Then 07 is driftwood. So that one little number means you're ordering driftwood or you're ordering Java finish. That's what it comes down to. So what makes a good PO are details. The more details you write in the description, the more opportunities the recipient has to identify potential mistakes beforehand. What do I mean by this? Let's go over it. So, taking this desk as the example, if the PO for the executive L-shaped desk listed the number 79427 that you don't want, but had written up the driftwood finish that you do want, there is a good chance that the vendor would catch this mistake, this mismatch, wow, of the finish and ask you about it. And if they didn't ask you about it, if they just like went by the number instead and then wrote Java finish, you're going to catch that in their acknowledgement. So that's the place where if they don't catch it but for you, because you actually wrote out more details by saying driftwood finish instead of just the number item, the item number, then you've got a better chance of the person putting that into their computer system saying, ooh, something's wrong here. That's not the finish that goes with this number. And if you don't catch it there, the acknowledgement is the second spot where you can catch this mistake. So this is an example of a purchase order. And a purchase order does not have to be fancy. You can use Word, Excel, really any software can write up a purchase order. You can even handwrite it if you really decided to. It's going to be hard because everyone's handwriting is different. I don't recommend that, but you don't even need, management software for this, like Excel or Word. Like these things are so simple. Everyone has them. It doesn't need to be fancy. What you do need to have is the top portion telling the vendor who you are and where the products will ship. And then at the bottom half, the bottom portion is going to tell the vendor what you're ordering. So I'm going to break this down for you even more. So the top portion of the PO needs to include the PO name and number that you're assigning it. And I use my name. So it says over here on the right, purchase order, Heather McManus 64. So I'm using my name for a couple of reasons. Definitely for any TDC member, I highly, highly recommend this, but I highly recommend this for everyone. Have your name be the purchase order and then a number that you're assigning it. Because when your receiver gets this furniture, the purchase order number usually is the piece of information that stays on that order throughout the process and will be received at the receiver. So when they say Heather McManus, well, now they know who that is. And when they call me, they're like, we have your order. It says Heather McManus. And I'm like, great, yes, that's me. And for TDC members, when other designers are ordering for you, this is especially important so that your receiver has a chance of recognizing whose order this is. So you write a purchase order is really, it is technically for your internal use for you to track things. But if you want your receiver to have a smooth process, and trust me, you do, you don't want it sitting there, product received for 2 weeks, and they're not sure who it's for. But if you give them more clues, like putting your name in the purchase order, that whole process will go faster and smoother for you. So then you're going to put the date on it because it's helpful for you to remember, months down the line when you're looking back at things when something was ordered. Then you're sold to is your company information. So that's the bit where it says Artistry Interior 64 Ricker Road, blah, blah, blah. That's your information so that the vendor can contact you. The company you're ordering from is going to be able to get a hold of you one way or another. Now, your ship to information is the receiving warehouse that you've designated who will inspect the furniture when it arrives, deliver and install it to your client's home. And one of the most important pieces of information that I see a lot of people forget is the receiver's phone number on that purchase order. So not just their address, not just the physical address, that receiver's phone number is especially important. That's why I put it in green to really stand out for your eyes to catch that, because it's a truck driver and a warehouse guy that have to connect by the phone to make sure that that delivery is going to come in and get received when they're both there. Because otherwise, the truck driver might, be 6 o'clock or later because his last stop took too long. And if the warehouse is closed by the time he gets there, he's going to have to start all over again, and who knows what's going to happen. So what they do is they call the warehouse to make sure that they're really there. They let them know, I'm on my way. They say, yep, we're here, come on. Or wait, no, we're not going to be here. Can you come tomorrow? So these two guys need to call each other, which is why that phone number is so important. Now, if you're drop shipping means it goes to someone's home instead of going to a receiver. You can do this for things like lighting, bedding, some accessories. A lot of things from Uttermost can be drop shipped. There are certain companies that, are doing a lot of drop shipping, and certain companies that won't do it at all. And you're probably going to pay a little bit extra for the drop shipment because they need to have a special truck that essentially has kind of an elevator at the back end of the truck so that they can get the furniture down, because the truck is quite high off the ground. You don't want them dropping that furniture. So, so you have to, specify if it is a drop ship in that section and give the homeowner's phone number, because that truck driver may be calling that homeowner to make sure that they're home when they are swooping by. So phone number either way is really important. And then lastly, your shipping method, down at the bottom here where it says freight carrier, vendors preferred. So 99% of the time, the vendor has a freight company that they do prefer, that they've already worked with, they have contracts with them. And so what most of the time you're going to write down is just use your preferred vendor. The reason you want to do this is because since they do have a relationship with that vendor for, all of their Northeast is going to be on Brooks, and they have a contract with Brooks. So when something comes in damaged, they're they're contracted with something that's going to make it easier for that vendor to get that stuff back and forth, and maybe even supplement some insurance or something. So using their preferred vendor rather than getting cute and telling them, oh, but I liked, Charlie's Transfer. Well, Charlie's Transfer doesn't have a contract with this vendor and may do a decent job, may not, but they're not used to working together. So telling them who you want to use as a freight company, I don't recommend. There are certain, like that 1% of the time when a company is so new, they have no idea how to do freight. And you have to tell them, they ask you, or it could be that you live somewhere kind of remote where they are not used to delivering to. Could be somewhere up in the Rocky Mountains or something like that, where they don't know how to get the furniture to you. And then that case, they're going to ask you. So if you're a member of the Designers Collaborative, it's no problem. We got you covered. There's a whole list of every possible freight carrier in the country and beyond in the Google Drive in the shipping folder. It's called Everything Shipping. So one of the pages or tabs has every freight carrier, and you can tell them based on where you live and where they are who can deliver that furniture. But most of the time, you don't want to tell them. You want to say, use your preferred so that you get all of that special insurance and contracting that they have set up together already in. So that's the top half of your PO. The bottom portion is dedicated to what you're ordering and needs to include the quantity. And it's surprising how many times I see this get messed up, and I messed it up one time. So I'll tell you the story so you don't run into this. I had an account with Surya, and I put in that I wanted one lamp, and it was on the second, like I ordered a blanket, let's say, right? Or a rug or something on line one. It was one item, line one. Then second line, I thought it was second line, but actually they put two. So I wound up getting two lamps, but I was reading it as though it was line two and not two quantity. So I wound up with a lamp that I didn't want, and returning it was going to be so expensive. Guess what? It lives in my living room. So I ate my profit on that one, but I have a new lamp. Sometimes these are the things that you learn the hard way, and boy, do those things stay with you. So I'm trying to save you from learning the hard way. So the quantity, you got to make sure that it's right on your purchase order, and you don't want to forget to put that on there. Description, so the item number and all the details. So you'll see here, I wrote the edit chair, right? And I put the number of the item, 1893, plus the size. Then I've got what cushion I want, the finish, the fabric, the grade of the fabric, and then over at the amount is the amount that it's going to cost. Now, the reason I'm telling you to put as many details as possible is because that chair might also come as a chair and a half. And if I've taken the time to write all the details, like the size that I want, and somebody thinks that 1893 is actually the chair and a half item number, like we saw the example with the desk, at the vendor, they're going to catch that. And they're going to say, that's not the size of this. This is the size of this. It's not, it's a chair and a half. It's, it's over 60 inches. So that's not the same thing, which is why details matter. So yeah, so all the description in the description as much as possible to save your butt from a mistake. You don't want something to arrive that you didn't really want to order, because they're not just taking it back. And yeah, so lastly, the amount that's being charged is what you have there, and then you total it up. So that is the bottom half of a purchase order. So details make the difference. You want to be sure to have your item number, your item name, your finish name and number, the size of the product, the fabrics and trims and the placement of each, hardware if applicable, nail heads if applicable, cushion type fill, And the more details, the better. And obviously, if you're ordering case goods, none of the fabric and trims and all that stuff are going to be something you add, but wherever possible, add as much detail as you can. Okay. So there's one more place where you can catch a potential mistake with your order before it's made, shipped, and is yours forever, because they don't take stuff back. You don't want to go into the, oh, it's going to be 20% restocking fee plus whatever it's going to cost to ship it back to them. By the time you do that, half the time, you are better off keeping that item and reselling it. It just doesn't pay off. These things, and sometimes like sale is final. They won't even do a restocking. So it's important to make sure that all those details are correct. And the second place you get to do this ultra checking, save your butt, is by making sure that the acknowledgement for your purchase order is correct. So an acknowledgement is a legal document from the vendor that's confirming their interpretation of the receipt of your purchase order. This is an agreement between you and the vendor. When you receive the acknowledgement, you read it thoroughly. You compare it against your original purchase order. The vendors send acknowledgements for this reason. They send it to you to ensure the vendor is providing you exactly what you want. It's kind of the stopgap to making sure that there are no discrepancies, because when discrepancies are found on the acknowledgement, you just simply reach out and make the corrections. So if an acknowledgement is correct, then you pay for it and it's an official order. It's not an official order until they have money. So now this is what an acknowledgement looks like. So this is I believe this was the sectional and some footstools and things. So you check to make sure that everything is accurate, because there are no returns. Does it match up with what you wrote in your PO? Is that the finish that you wanted on the foot? Is that the fabric? Is that the finish, the fabric, the nail head, the placement of those things, the cushion, all those details? And when I say that your purchase order is being interpreted, it means that they're going to spit this back out to you in the program in which they use. So it looks a little different than your PO because they've written it up just ever so slightly different. So you just want to really carefully go through this to make sure all the details are correct. So remember, details matter, and it's all that stuff is correct. Now, also note that in this, they've given you the lead time. So in the box towards the bottom, it says due in early April. So now you've got like how long you can expect this to be delivered. And actually delivered is the wrong word, shipped the week of or early April is a generalized thing, because they're not sure exactly when it's going to get done and exactly when the truck is going to pick it up. I also want to tell you at this point that once it has shipped, it could take up to 2 weeks for that truck to actually arrive at your receiver. It's not unheard of, depending on how far it has to go, how many stops there are. So, telling your client that they're going to have the furniture in early April isn't really a good thing to do, because it could take another 2 weeks for it to get there. And then once your receiver has it, it's going to take them a little bit of time to unpack it, inspect it, and get you on their schedule. So I give yourself a buffer of like 3 to 4 weeks from that time period is usually a good amount of time between. It just sets the expectation for your client. They're not expecting it in early April. They might expect it at later April, mid to later April. You could even like push it out and say, I'm thinking early May. Beginning of May, you're going to get this. And that way, if you call them up earlier and say, oh, guess what? Good news. It came in sooner than we thought, and we can deliver it, a week early. Then they're happy instead of being upset, unless you're doing like major construction, and then that's a whole other thing. Okay, so there are acknowledgements that come back from the vendor with abbreviations. So you want to confirm what they mean with the vendor, and don't hope for the best and assume that the abbreviations mean what you want it to mean. And I put this example over on the side. If you look at like the second item number there, the king bed STD HDBRD/low, right? It stands for standard headboard, low footboard / rails. I know this because I know this vendor, but if you were unsure that that meant standard headboard and low footboard, take the time to ask. Don't just say, yeah, it's fine. Make sure that you know what everything means because they abbreviate a lot. Because there are no returns. So you want to make sure and take the extra step to make sure that you are, yes, I did want a standard headboard. Yes, I did want the low footboard. And because once it's approved, that's what they're making for you. Okay, so let's recap. You want to take your time, no rushing. You want to include your receiver's phone number. You want to include as many details in the description as you can. You want to carefully check the acknowledgement from that vendor. That's your last fail-safe in making sure that you are getting the thing that you wanted to order. And it's that simple. It's not a lot. And the more you do these things, the more comfortable you're going to be, the more secondhand, the faster you're going to get at it. It's just conquering whatever gremlin, whatever fear you have in your mind and saying, okay, I can take my time. I don't have to rush. I set some time aside. I'm going to remember to include the receiver number. And if you don't worry, they're going to ask you because they know that it's going to come back to them with blah, blah, blah from the freight company and everyone's going to hear about it. So even if you forget to do one of these steps, they're going to remind you if it's really necessary. Including the details to protect your butt, that's important. That's like number one. Make sure you put the size on there. Make sure you have all the numbers, all the colors, so that somebody can catch a potential mistake. And then you want to catch the mistakes or the mismatches with carefully checking the acknowledgement from the vendor. And that's really it. That's it in a nutshell. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Designers Collaborative. Most of you are already members, so yay. So the Designers Collaborative, is it right for you? So we are designers helping other designers. It's designer run. We work together to share accounts to get the best clout and access to the best vendor pricing. So it's creative freedom for you because we have 300 of the top vendors. You're going to get these things at the best price. You're going to earn the most profit. And when I say the best price, I'm talking about stocking dealer. That's what a furniture store gets. So because we've pulled resources, we're able to get that best pricing. You wouldn't be able to get it on your own. Actually, that's not true. You can, it's just really, really hard. And then you're putting all your eggs in one basket. So this gives you the freedom of 300 accounts to choose from. So if you've got a living room, you might source 7 different vendors. You can get all of those vendors and get the best pricing. We also provide education and community. And so, so that's about the Designers Collaborative. We welcome you to join. This is the website. It's www.thedesignerscollaborative.com. There's plenty of information on that website. If you have any questions, you can email. There's also, you can request a vendor list. There's a button for that. What else about that? And then there's the join us button. So it's an application. We vet you. We look at your online presence. If you don't have an online presence, maybe you have a student portfolio you can show us. We'll work with you on that, but we are going to need something. We also need your resale certificate. And if you don't have that, my business partner, Tracy, is great about, telling you all the steps on how to get yourself a resale certificate. And there are a few states that don't even require it. So good for you if you're in one of those states. Okay. So questions. Let me see if anybody has any questions. I hope I didn't go too quickly. Let's see. Let me stop sharing. And then if anyone has questions, oh, I see one. Okay. So I'm sorry if I butcher your name. It looks like maybe Rochelle or Rachel, but spelled slightly different. I'm so learning disabled and like names are terrible for me. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. So do you use a particular software or program? Actually, I use Excel. I am so old school. I have my paper printed up. It's like, but it's the comfort because I have had software fail on me before where it like I lost the information. And so having my paper backup was my saving grace. So yeah, I know that there are great programs out there that do make things easier. I also use QuickBooks. So because I'm an account holder for our group, which means I have some accounts at the best price and I'm ordering for other people, QuickBooks is what helps me send my invoices. It also has a purchase order feature. So if you didn't need all of the organizational stuff like my DOMA and design files and whatever they're called now, House, all of those kind of softwares do help you kind of run all of your projects. So it can be very helpful to have that, but I've personally just been using basic stuff and it's enough for me. I'm also winding down the interior design part of my business. So like if I was trying to do more jobs and things like that, I would definitely look into more different programs. Okay, so Amy says, for TDC members, should sold to be your account holder? That's a great question. So yes, yes and no. It's okay if it's not the account holder's information because what I do, and each account holder has their way of doing it, again, because everyone uses different softwares. I take your purchase order that you've sent me and I essentially screenshot, crop out your information that says, you know, whatever it is, Amy Fisher designs.com, whatever your headline stuff is, I take that off, I put my letterhead on. Sometimes I'll even kind of help you guys out with like renaming your purchase order with your name so that your receiver is more likely to like clue into the fact that it's yours. Another thing that I'm doing is as your items are shipping, when I get notification, I'm going to get a freight bill. So when I'm sending you the bill for the freight bill, that is the point at which you tell your receiver, whatever it is, Masad Furniture is coming. I got a sofa and a chair. It's going to Smith Residence in whatever town. And it's going to look like it's coming from Artistry Interiors, but it's actually for me. So just be on the lookout for that. It's a simple email that will help your receiver and help you connect all the dots so that they're getting the information that they need. Okay, next question. Okay, so Elizabeth, thank you. Great and thorough presentation. Good. No questions on the POs, but did have a mistake recently on an order, just a wrong choice. And I'm wondering what are the best ways to try and sell the dining room table? Oof. Okay. Well, I hate when this happens. These are mistakes that can happen. You know, and when you write a good purchase order, hopefully it doesn't happen. When you check that acknowledgement, hopefully that's not going to happen. But we're in past tense now. So what do you do with it? Well, you can put it on Facebook Marketplace. There is a design group, it's called Designer ER Listings. And it's a bunch of designers that have those kind of things happen where, you know, this is extra wallpaper I didn't need. The chandelier wasn't the right thing. Turns out can't install this, whatever. And so that is a listing of that kind of stuff. And people look there for those things. If you're in our group, and I believe, Elizabeth, you are, you can post that in our group, in our Facebook group. And say, hey, I have this dining room. I live here. You know, if anyone needs it, this is what I paid for it. Maybe you're willing to like take less money and get that item out, or like the lamp, maybe you bring it to your home and upgrade your dining table. Those are my best suggestions. Yeah, it's a real bummer when this happens. One more thing I should tell you about that is I've been doing research on, I had a mentor tell me about errors and omissions insurance. That's also called professional liability. So you need to have general liability that protects you from anyone getting hurt on a job. The client pulls the cord down on a window treatment and whacks her in the head, like crazy things happen. So that protects you against someone getting hurt, the general liability. Professional liability is something you can look into for this kind of thing when a mistake happens. But I've also heard that it can be hard because it's an insurance company to actually get the money back from them, but it does exist and it's something I should tell people about. So there, I have told you. Okay, next question. Amy Fisher says, helpful on receiving for the heads up. Yes, it's always good to give your receiver a heads up. It's going to save you and them headache and time. And I see we have comments as well. So let me just make sure that I'm not missing any questions over here. So Allison says, what was the name of the podcast you spoke on? The podcast, I've been on a couple actually now. So the very first ones was Luann Nagara's A Well-Designed Business, which is very popular. Just about everybody's heard of it. I was her very first episode, and then episode 357 was like just as I'm starting this group. So we had a different name and everything. It was so long ago. It was like 5 years ago. So it's actually an old podcast. But then I was just recently on another podcast. Terry Taylor is a coach, and she has a podcast. It's called Interior Design Business Podcast. So I was recently on there talking about the Designers Collaborative and the difference between shopping and sourcing. And we're sourcing when we're writing a purchase order. When we go to a store and we're making 10%, we're only shopping. So that was the topic on that one. And I have an upcoming podcast with Joseph Hacker, who has Design Talk Live. That's due out maybe in a month. Okay, so then, so that's that. And then Michelle says, love it. Yeah, so Rochelle's asking about Google Sheets and QuickBooks. Yeah, I think, if you're just starting out and you don't know how busy you're going to be, you may not need as much software as somebody's going to sell you for setting all of that up and that kind of thing. So you can totally start off with free Google Sheets. Make your purchase order however you want, then it's done, and you just plug your stuff in each time. So you need to, remember to save your blank one and then fill in each time. It works for me. It costs not that much money. QuickBooks does cost money, and they raise the price every damn year, but that is what it is. So that will work for you. We have another question. During the podcast, you mentioned the possibility of receiving a vendor list. Yes. So, it's very general, the vendor list. It's just the names of the vendors that we do offer. It's just so that you can look at it and say, oh, I might want to join this because I do like these certain vendors. If you are looking for a particular vendor, I can even let you know now if we have it and what price point and whatnot. But there is a button on the website on one of our about pages. It says request vendor list, and I am going to look at your website or check you out, making sure that, you're not up to no good, because who knows? We've been messed with before. Okay, next question is walk us through saving and using, okay, TDC POs. I've been fearful if not done correctly, I'll write over TDC's group shared drive. Oh, okay. So, so this is a technical question from Kelly about TDC's POs and writing over them on a Google Drive. There are some people who have purchase orders that they'd like for you to use to fill out and send. I'm one of those. Most of the time, people don't use them, and that's fine, because I'll take, a couple of minutes to edit what you have done. Um, it's not that big of a deal, but if you are using someone's and they're insisting on it, or you just prefer to use theirs, you download it from the Google Drive, write everything that you need to write up, save it on your computer somewhere, however you save it, in the cloud, on the hard drive, whatever, and then email it to the person who you are trying to get it to. Because I've had a lot of people say, I filled it out and it's in the drive. Well, you filled it out so that everyone sees it now on the drive with all your information. And I didn't get a notification because it doesn't do that. So you have to download the PO, fill it out, save it on your computer, and then get it back to the account holder who needs it. Okay. So Virginia is asking, please share again the investment amount for joining. Ugh, yes, I didn't share that, did I? Okay, so it is an annual amount. So if you joined, let's say today, next year, 2025 is the next January 24th, it will be due. And it is $5.99 for the year. You pay for it, it pays for itself in one order. One rug, and you've like made your money back. A room of wallpaper, you've made your money back because their pricing is so good. And the vendor list is extensive. We also have opportunities for you to become an account holder. So if you had an account that we don't have already, we would love for you to be an account holder for that if you've got the very best price. If you have a price that anyone can get, like a designer discount, then it's not worth sharing, because our account holders make 10% for their trouble of purchasing for you. So if, and the pricing is, let's say it's stocking dealer, right? We've got, Masad is my example because they're my account and I know them pretty well. So if your retail price for a sofa is $3,000, you divide by 3 to get to what your price is, what a TDC price is. So it's $1,000 for that sofa. That would be a $3,000 retail sofa. So there's a lot of room in there for profit. Like, you're going to make so much money. Then if you're buying other things, it might be a 50 plus 20, when a designer discount might be 30 off or 40 off. So it can depend on the vendor, but it is most definitely worth joining. And then we do tons of education. We've got a great community. We do meetups at High Point, other things. So it's fun. It's fun to be a member. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything over on the side. No, I think I'm good. All right, so any other questions? Okay, so I appreciate you guys being here. I want to give you all the courage in the world because you are completely capable. I feel like you all need to hear that you're way more than capable of doing this. You're so capable. It's amazing. You are astonishing. You're so talented. Look at you. You went into business for yourself. You came here, you're on this webinar learning. Yes, this is all awesome. So now don't be afraid and go buy some things. Go put a purchase order up together. And if you have, all right, so any member who is on this, like, I want to encourage you so much to just go for it. And I want to be there for you. So if you, okay, there are no dumb questions and everyone has to start somewhere. So if you have a purchase order and you want to ask the group, ask me about it before you send it, post it in our Facebook group and say, this is my first purchase order, or I'm new at purchase orders. How does this look? What am I missing? And you will get great advice from the group. If you're missing something, they're going to be like, this looks good to me, but you could include this. Have you thought about that? And if you're looking for like, well, what software do people use that's helpful? Our group is also an amazing resource for that, because everyone will say, oh, I loved my Doma for a while, but then I switched to Design Files and it's working so much better for me for these reasons, or I'm having a problem with Studio Designer. They're making it so difficult. who do we use? And then the people who are using that software are like, I've moved to this one. So it's an incredible resource. Don't be afraid to ask your questions out there. Every designer knows how hard this business is and they want to help you. So I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you're going to go and write amazing purchase orders with lots of details and make a ton of money because you're very talented and you need to be making a lot of money. Your time is worth something, and you know, that's why you're in business is to be here to make the money. So I hope that this was helpful. It sounds like it was, so thank you. Um, all right, guys, it's about 2 o'clock here, so I hope you all have fantastic the rest of your day and the rest of your week and the rest of your year because we are so close to the beginning of the year. It's still January. We have the whole year ahead of us to make lots and lots of money. So, all right, signing off. If you have any questions, you can contact us at admin@thedesignerscollaborative is our email. You can go to the website and there's a contact us page. So check it out. I have recorded this and I will be sending it to everybody. So you can watch it again. You can go back to slides. You can screenshot things if you want. And anyone who is not a member, I really encourage you to join. It is an awesome group. And if you ask around, you're going to hear good things from other members. And that's worth the most, right? Is the people who use it say good things, then you know it's good. You don't have to take my word for it. All right. Take care, everybody.